Have you ever stood by a quiet stream and wondered about its journey? Or watched the immense power of the ocean waves crashing against the shore? It is a force unlike any other on our planet. Water is everywhere. It falls from the clouds as gentle rain, and it flows in mighty rivers that carve their way through continents. It fills the vast, deep oceans that cover most of our world. This simple, clear liquid holds a power so profound, so essential, that one might be tempted to ask a very old question. Is water in some way a god? It is a question that speaks to the deep connection all living things have with this remarkable substance. The story of life on Earth is, in its essence, the story of water. Without it, our vibrant green and blue planet would be just another silent, barren rock drifting through space. Every living thing, from the smallest microbe hiding in the soil to the great blue whale navigating the ocean depths, depends entirely on water. It is the lifeblood of our world, coursing through the veins of animals and the stems of plants. Our own bodies are mostly made of water, a constant reminder of our unbreakable link to the planet's cycles. It is the solvent for life's chemical reactions, the cradle where the first cells stirred. Think of a seed, dormant and seemingly lifeless, buried in the dry ground. It waits patiently, sometimes for years, for a single, magical ingredient. When the rains finally come and soak the earth, the seed awakens. Water enters its tiny shell, triggering a cascade of biological processes that have been perfected over millions of years. A root pushes downwards, seeking more moisture, while a delicate shoot reaches up towards the sunlight. This miraculous transformation, this explosion of life from apparent stillness, is powered entirely by water. It is a daily drama that unfolds billions of times across our world. This dependence connects every corner of the natural world in a beautiful, intricate web. The moisture that rises from the Amazon rainforest may travel thousands of miles to fall as rain on a distant farmland, nourishing the crops that feed a village. The snow that melts on a high mountain peak begins a long journey, feeding rivers that will provide drinking water for cities and habitats for countless creatures along the way. Water is the great connector, the medium through which energy and nutrients are shared across ecosystems. It ensures that no part of our living world is truly isolated from the rest. Water is not merely a passive substance that sustains life. It is also an active and powerful force that shapes the very face of our planet. It is a relentless artist, a patient sculptor working on a geological timescale. Over millennia, the slow, steady drip of water can carve vast caverns deep underground, creating breathtaking cathedrals of stone decorated with stalactites and stalagmites. This process, happening out of sight, demonstrates how even the gentlest presence of water given enough time can transform the hardest of materials. It is a testament to the quiet, persistent power that water wields over the land. On a much grander scale, we see the immense sculptural power of rivers. Consider the Grand Canyon in North America. For millions of years, the Colorado River has been flowing, carrying with it tiny particles of sand and silt. Each particle acts like a grain of sandpaper, grinding away at the rock layer by layer. The result is one of the most spectacular natural wonders on Earth, a testament to the river's unyielding force. What was once a flat plateau has been transformed into a colossal network of canyons, cliffs, and mesas, all carved by the patient, flowing water. It shows us that mountains are not as permanent as they seem. This shaping power is also visible in the form of ice. In the coldest parts of our world, vast glaciers slowly advance like frozen rivers. As they move, they pluck rocks from mountainsides and scour the valleys below, deepening and widening them into the distinctive U-shaped valleys we see today. When these glaciers retreat, they leave behind a transformed landscape of sharp peaks, deep lakes, and fertile plains. Much of the scenery in places like Norway, New Zealand, and Canada was sculpted not by liquid water, but by its solid, frozen form, acting as a planetary bulldozer. And then there is the coastline, the dynamic boundary where land meets the sea. Here, the energy of the ocean is relentlessly at work. Powerful waves driven by wind and tide crash against cliffs, slowly eroding them and creating dramatic arches and sea stacks. In other areas, the same waves gently deposit sand, building up wide beaches and protective barrier islands that shelter coastal ecosystems. This constant give and take, this endless dance between water and land, creates some of the most dynamic and beautiful habitats on our planet, always changing, always being reshaped by the sea. Given water's incredible power to both give life and to shape the world, it is no surprise that ancient cultures viewed it with a deep sense of awe and reverence. For our ancestors, who lived in much closer harmony with the natural world, the forces of nature were not abstract concepts. They were immediate, powerful presences that governed their daily existence. A drought could mean starvation, while a flood could wipe out an entire village. It was only natural, then, to see a divine spirit, a god or goddess, dwelling within the water, controlling its moods and its gifts. In ancient Greece, for example, the seas were ruled by Poseidon, a powerful and often temperamental god who could whip the ocean into a furious storm with his trident or grant sailors calm passage. Rivers and springs, meanwhile, were believed to be inhabited by nymphs, gentle female spirits who protected their sacred waters. To anger these deities was to risk your life, so people would make offerings and say prayers to appease them, hoping for safe travels or a bountiful harvest. These stories were not just fantasies, they were a way of understanding and respecting a force that held ultimate power over their lives. This reverence for water gods was not unique to one culture. It was a nearly universal human experience. In ancient Egypt, the entire civilization depended on the annual flooding of the Nile River, which deposited fertile silt upon the farmlands. They worshipped Hapi, the god of this inundation, celebrating his arrival with festivals and hymns of praise. In Norse mythology, the vast ocean was the domain of the god Aegir, who would host grand feasts for the other gods in his hall beneath the waves. Around the world, from the great Ganges River in India, revered as the goddess Ganga, to the rain gods of Mesoamerica, humanity has consistently seen divinity in water. These beliefs shaped how people interacted with their environment. A spring might be considered sacred, a place for healing and ritual, and therefore it would be protected from pollution. A river might be seen as a living entity, demanding respect and careful stewardship from those who lived on its banks. These myths and spiritual beliefs were an early form of environmental conservation, rooted in the understanding that human well-being was inextricably linked to the health of the water. They were stories that taught a vital lesson, that water is not just a resource to be used, but a sacred gift to be cherished. Today, our scientific understanding has given us new names for the forces that our ancestors called gods. We speak of the hydrological cycle, of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. We understand the chemistry of water and the physics of erosion. This knowledge has allowed us to build great dams, irrigate vast deserts, and provide clean drinking water to billions of people. We have in many ways learned to harness water's power for our own benefit. Yet, in gaining this scientific control, perhaps we have lost some of the profound reverence that our ancestors held for it. The challenges facing our planet's water are immense and undeniable. Our rivers and oceans are increasingly burdened with pollution from our cities, farms, and industries. Climate change is altering the ancient patterns of rainfall, leading to more extreme droughts in some regions and more devastating floods in others. We are drawing water from underground aquifers faster than nature can replenish them. We are treating this vital, life-giving substance as if it were an infinite commodity, a resource to be exploited without consequence, forgetting the delicate balance upon which all life depends. The ancient stories of water gods taught a simple but powerful truth, that water deserves our respect. While we may no longer believe that a deity lives in every spring or river, the core message of these myths is more relevant now than ever before. We must once again learn to see water not just as a resource, but as the very foundation of our living world. We must recognize that the health of our water systems is directly connected to our own health and the survival of the countless other species with whom we share this planet. This requires a shift in our perspective. So, is water a god? Perhaps that is a question of belief, but what is undeniable is that water is a sacred trust. It is a legacy we have inherited from the earth, and one we have a profound responsibility to protect for all the generations that will follow us. Every time we turn on a tap, every time we stand by a river or look out at the ocean, we should remember its power, its beauty, and its absolute necessity. We must become the guardians that the ancient gods once were, ensuring that the lifeblood of our planet continues to flow clean and strong for millennia to come.